Awesome to see you all. And what I would like us to do first is to introduce yourself more from this perspective of what's your cultural background. We are multi-dimensional people, multicultural. We have amazing diversity in how we perceive life. So it would be really awesome to have in a chat, which country are you from? Because it's something that will enrich our conversation. I'm from Russia, which has a very different approach to leadership of women, very different dynamics in how women and men perceive themselves. And so that, for example, is what helps me to present and see from different angles sometimes. It's also a little bit on the East and West mix in a border between West and East meeting. So it allows me to tap into Western concepts and taps into Eastern concept. It's always awesome to be in touch with who you are, because it both holds you back sometimes and propels you forward. So fantastic to see the chat. We have Pakistan and Ethiopia, and Uzbekistan, Germany, Guatemala, Angola, Sri Lanka. So fantastic. Awesome. So today we are talking about how to put everything that we talked about into action, right? We started with what business looks like and how we create the system of business and how it is a systemic issue, but we have responsibility and accountability for allowing this business to be for us and creating and maintaining that system. And we talked about strategies, how to maybe start having accountability with yourself and conversations with people who can have authority in changing it. But if we don't address this business and don't recognize how we sometimes create business so we don't have to deal with our emotions, with our traumatic experiences, it can lead to burnout. And so the second week we were talking about burnout and all the secrets that we often don't even know have to do with burnout, how we relate emotionally to people, how we behave in social environment when our resources are gone, and how we see ourselves, how it plays the role for our self-esteem. The third week, we looked into why the high achievers are so uniquely packaged. There is nature, we just gifted people in so many ways, but there are also filters that were installed into us by society, by family, by culture, by gender, the expectations, by experience, by nurturing, by environment we're in, that consistently maintain and perpetuate certain trends in us. And we play this hero game when we need to do it all, be it all, serve everyone, be there for everyone, and do it perfect, by the way, right? And so eventually, that is the experience we create for ourselves. So today we're going to be shifting gears and see how we can play with that differently. And then we talked about our internal resources, the body, the energy, and how we can help the body to support us to be the A+ self, so we can really create the experiences in life, relationship, and impact we want. And so all of those pieces are now coming together into, we have 1,000 minutes a day, every single one of us, that we need to smartly design to create space for everything that, with the garden, for everything we want to plant and seed. And this is a little bit of practical piece, but we will try to come up with the idea how to do this. Then you will hear objections that will come somewhere there, why it's not possible. And yet, what are the plans we can take forward and the actions we can take forward so it does become more possible than less possible. Sounds good? So as always, I'm curious, what's the intention that you come in for today? You were here, congratulations, to spend an hour with us. Why? What is the decision you want to make? One thing you want to either start doing or stop doing? One insight that you want to have answers to? What is the intention that you are coming in for this hour of your life today? So we have people who want to learn how to grow, personally grow, take charge of my life. What are your intentions for today? When your mind is not set on a goal, it will not listen to the same goal. It would not be able to pick up and will miss information. So goal that you set for yourself is the mind is the goal achieving machine. So what is the program that you put into your mind? My purpose, my intention is to excite you to see what's possible, shake a little bit your desire to like stay in the status quo, spook you a little bit, burst you a little bit, excite you a little bit, so you start thinking differently, so it can open up the door at least into the possibility of transformation. Will it happen in 1 hour? The moment of transformation might. The habits are not happening in the instant. They require work and implementation. And for that, we have master classes and actual programs that work through the implementation. But my intention today is to ignite your imagination, what's possible. How to remember not to be easy, listen to my emotions, celebrate big news. Awesome. Celebrating and playing with our awesomeness is great. How to be less burned out and maintain healthy, productive life. Thank you for those who set the intentions, and let's dive into that. So what I would like us to play with is a couple slides and some frameworks that I will explain first, and then we're going to put this in the calendar. And I'm going to be hopping around them, so if there's something that is more interesting to you, we can slow down and do it more. It's a framework that we teach in our programs. So the elephant in the room is that we're all burned out, right? So let's just go and get an idea on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being stressed out, anxious, burned out, overwhelmed, 1 being in peace, ease, and being totally amazing. What's your scale as of now? Awesome. So we have 4s and 3s and 4s. So it pretty much indicates we're very much run out of energy very, very often. And so not doing anything can never really be anything by itself. It's not going to solve itself. It is going to continue coming up until we do something about this. The definition of insanity: do the same thing, expect different results, right? So when we work with people to try to understand where they are, we'll come back to this in a minute, but I will be asking you questions, because it's not just what you are overall, but also the dynamics of life. We're like big Rubik's Cube, right? Something like this. You have multiple dimensions, and all of them are on you, on this inside mechanism. And it's important to understand first, because when you see what it is, then you can actually manage it. The horrible, horrible secret is that most people are so afraid to look into the reality of their life that they never take time to slow down and see what it is that is not working too well. But when you do know what the frustration is in each area of your life, then you can actually decide what you want instead, which sets the map for your possible transformation. And then you can decide on strategies and bring the resources that actually needed to make this happen. Because no matter what you want, unless you do it, it's not going to change by itself, right? So I'm introducing today a very simple, I call it 4P framework. And whenever you feel that you are off the chart going into anxiety and stress, you can always come back to this super, super simple thing. For that, I would like you to play with the idea of the BMW, standing for body, for your mind, and how the body and the mind interact with the world. And when we go off-road, we really have only 3 ways of responding to this. We keep pushing the same way, hoping that this BMW somehow will find its way. It may or may not. It may crash into the trees. We might decide to stop and wait for help, and then we freeze and we do nothing. We just start hiding. So for some, hiding means to stop doing what they used to love. For some, it means divorcing and walking away from people. For some, it means drinking, because it kind of blocks your stress response. And it could be all sorts of ways of escaping from dealing with issues. And there is also a 3rd way, to just slow down, stop, look around, figure out, and then back up to the road and take a different route back to where you were supposed to go. So this is about exploring what goes into that, what decisions, what thoughts, what feelings, what emotions are driving your behavior that ultimately make you do something or not do something, the direction you want in each of those 3 possibilities. So let's think of one place where you feel stuck, like overwhelmed. Could be work, could be relationship, could be your time management. Just choose one thing, one dimension of your reality, and let me put in the chat, where do you think you are? 1, 2, or 3? Are you keep pushing the pedal, like closing eyes and hoping and praying to God that somehow you will make it with the same old strategies that no longer work, but this is the only thing you know? Are you number two, let me just like freeze, give up, and wait for a savior to show up? Or are you three, actively looking for transformation and finding ways, new knowledge, new skills, new capabilities, new practices to become next level of self? And try to be honest with yourself. What is your area that you choose to reflect, and what's the numbers? You don't have to be a hero. You need to be honest with yourself. So, for example, in career for a very long time, I felt I was a tool because I have no control. People decide for me until I realized, oh no, wait a second. I can become a branding, marketing specialist, communication specialist that can communicate my brand to wherever I want. I learned that I don't know the skills, and I went to learn the skills, and now I am in control of my career, of my work, of my job, of everything. Same was with relationships and emotions. Initially, it was more like one, do the old thing because that's what I was told to do, until I learned that that's not getting me where I want. And then it was a long process of learning that basically got me to be in a very different place. But knowing where you stand is important to see how you deal with challenges in your life and have this mirror in front of you. So we have lots of threes. That's awesome. You are in transformation then. So here's a very simple thing that we will be working through today and hopefully for the rest of your life. When you feel that you're somewhere, I want you to know 4 things, 4 P's for transformation. Pause. And I want to do this with me. Just open up your cameras, your hands. Let's play with that. We have to pause. Something I'm going the direction I don't want, we have to pause. Interruption of the old pattern is the first thing. Then we need to get present. Present means to really see how you feel, what's going on, what's the impact, how you're feeling, what's going on. This is the scary thing for many people to see. This is why often people are so afraid to see what is, because they feel they don't know how to change this, that they're willing to pretend to put it under the rug and never have a difficult conversation or the difficult boundary or the decision that needs to be made. And then we result into 20 years of really stressed marriages or real unrealized potential in the professional world, or broken health because I know I should stop, but I don't want to see it. So that's the being the present, seeing with open eyes, because when you see it, you can manage it. Then we go into planning. And planning does not mean to necessarily have the plan. It's the planning itself that is so useful. You'll learn to understand what needs to happen, what I have, what I don't have, which I can learn, and what needs to be optimized, which is working towards something up. We can see the realities. We do this all the time in business when we have contingency planning. What is a scenario, worst case, best case scenario, most likely scenario, and how do I prepare for this to mitigate or eliminate those risks? We do this in business all the time, but we forget that we can do the same thing in life. Whether you're talking to your boss about the possible delegation of activities or next promotion, or a spouse, or your child, your teens, I have 5 of them. Oh my gosh, you negotiate with them all the time. But it's this readiness, no matter what, to the possibility to make the right move, believing that I can, and I'm learning all the time, that brings you back into empowerment, to feel empowered that you can. And then finally, we go and pursue. We do actions, but the actions that are smart, not actions hectically, not actions just to be busy, but the actions that work to the direction and the trajectory of life I want to be on. And if it's not the trajectory that I want to be on, we learn different actions, how to delegate, how to delete, how to renegotiate, how to set boundaries, which is also actions that most of us do not take. So how does it land so far with you with these 4 basic things? Before jumping and doing, can we just pause, get present, then we plan, and then we pursue? I was curious to see in the chat, how does it resonate? Does it help? What comes up when you listen or think about this? So how many people jump straight into action because this is what we do, because action makes us feel like adrenaline is going, we are in control, right? Slowing down takes us initially in the sense of, oh my gosh, it's even bigger than I thought. But ultimately, it does create a sense of control for you. So pause. What about pause? Feel acting right away, which I'm trying to change. Okay, Firuza, awesome. So we have 3 steps before you can act. Pause, present, plan, pursue. Let's do it together. Pause, present, hold, present. Get in touch with your emotions, with your feelings, with reality. Plan, and then pursue. Pausing is difficult. Love pause, says Nicole. Awesome. So we're going to be doing this a little bit in a slightly different way. So let's talk about pause. So here's how we deal, how our body, how our internal systems, where human technology works with issues. So we have a goal. We like, la, 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 everything is awesome. And then bam, something comes up and blocks it, whatever that might look like, which we're not in control because things happen all the time. The very first initial moment is this frustration because we are responding to this. There's nothing you can do about that either initially, because it is a violation of expected. And the status quo gets our body a little bit off control, right? And that's where we have a moment of start allowing these emotions through our thoughts escalate. We go into like, oh my gosh, what will happen if? And notice that like no zebra, for example, is who run of the line will then stop and think, oh my gosh, what if it would have been 2 zebras? What if I would have been pregnant? Oh, what if I've been pregnant with 2 little babies? I couldn't be running so fast. And what will happen if? And then this process that we human zebras are creating for ourselves is completely not present in the natural development, in the nature itself. Dogs don't worry, they just shake it up and then they go and do their thing. Squirrels don't worry, they just shake it up and go and do their thing. But the humans have this amazing mechanism called brain and imagination that we consistently use to create the problem. And we create Napoleon cakes of what would happen if only, which takes the initial problem and takes it to the completely different level. So this is where we realize that we are now dealing not just with the real problem, but the story we create around the problem and all the imaginary horrible things that could happen around the problem. And that's the mechanism how we create our own experience. So where do we pause? Well, we need to pause before we activate that amygdala, which is a part of the brain that is absolutely looking for fear. It's designed to get you through dangers and succeed in surviving, not thriving, not happy, surviving. And so it will tell you, don't do this, don't go, don't, danger, 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 because the only thing that would keep you alive at that time would have been hyper vigilant, right? But we are not that brain anymore, because after we have a first initial loop of 60 seconds where the amygdala is activated to keep you alive, that's why you push the brakes before you even know that there is a problem. The body works on the speed of sound. But then there is a 60 seconds loop of reactivating your prefrontal cortex, which is a decision maker, the CEO, who says, oh, that's a different story. That dog that you see is not a wolf. It's actually a friendly German Shepherd that my neighbor has. His name is Roxy, and hi, Roxy. Most of us, though, don't recognize that the actual natural stress is a 60-second response. And if you're worrying about something you didn't do or should have done or could have, would have, should have, 6 months later, 5 years later, 15 years later, realize that's not stress. It's you doing this to yourself because you're maintaining it through your thoughts, through your inability to deal with certain feelings and emotions, and most likely communication skills that you didn't build enough to address the situation. That's all it is. All you need to do is learn new ways of thinking, speaking, and negotiating your life. And so where this moment of pause comes, when you start feeling a little bit of, that's when you can realize you have a choice to either go into your squirrel moment or stop. And when you stop and you get back to your CEO, you will then find multiple solutions how to do this. Change the question, I can't, to how can I? How can I be happy and wealthy and successful? And wait, because the answers are going to start coming. If there's a human being who found this way, you can too. How does this land with you so far? Is it helpful? Yes. Okay. I see the chat. Thank you. How do we stop? Super easy. We go into the body, out of the head, into the body. The body knows how to survive. It did it for 2 million years and 300,000 years of being human. It knows it's stop. Trust it. You can breathe. 5 in, hold 5, release 7. That brings energy into your vagus nerve, right? You can laugh. Let's do this. We'll do 10 seconds of laughing. Open up your diaphragm and then contract it with this stretch of 43 miles, right? Muscles here. It's called laugh. Unmute yourself, please, for a second. And let's laugh together. It's a therapy. Stop and feel. Do you feel energy? Yes? Put in the chat because I don't see you all. Yes, you feel instantly because what you did, you activated your most important autonomic systems of taking oxygen, pushing it to your blood, which circulates to your mind, brings new abilities to be in control. It stretches your 43 muscles, which realize, wait a second, we're smiling, something good that we missed. And then the body adjusts. Another way to do this, walk outside if you have a bit more time, or at least look outside. Let's practice. Look at me. And now look outside or as far as you can. And then back at me and back as far as you can, ideally 20 feet out. What you do, you change in your muscles in your eyes, which are activating different parts of the brain. You basically massaging your brain. And you distracting from the thought that is taking you to this rabbit hole. Let's do another one. Super simple. Like anything that activates your sensory things, like this is touching. Can you just touch every finger? Can you imagine this doing under the table in a difficult negotiation? No big deal. You have no idea. I'm smiling and I'm touching and I'm activating my sensory feelings. My body is my friend. We can do this by cardio. You know how we do that? Get up. I get up. And then we do 10 seconds. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now feel the body. Again, the heart is pumping, the energy is going, oxygen is flowing, you're in your body. Another one, change the narration. Oh, I see. How can I? I'm curious. What if I have to do this? Replace it. I choose to do this. I decide to do this. I could do this. And see how this changes your perception just based on the way you connect with yourself. Does it give you some ideas how to be in a pause, how to create this interruption? Yes? Please put in the chat one thing that you're going to try to interrupt yourself when you feel like you're going into this monkey zoo place. Something that inspired you so far. And think of this, how fast you want to do this and how obvious it is for other people, because, you know, laughing in front of everyone may not be for every event, but it's super awesome because it's contagious. People will start laughing too, and you elevated your energy instantly if you need to lead people, right? So let's take a look at the present. You can't effectively manage what you're not aware of, period. Cannot. Impossible. If you don't know what it is, you cannot manage it, right? And so what we want to do is be in this place of bringing whatever is brewing into what people call subconscious or deeper level of consciousness, but it's brewing in your fear-based survival brain, which is responsible for everything that you do before you even know that you need to survive. Right? This is amygdala place. There is a middle brain. So this is amygdala. This is where you will have your middle brain, which is the limbic system responsible for your emotions and associations. So the brain is working on the programs, shortcuts. It can build best based on the previous experiences. If it doesn't know what it did to survive something new, something changing, something exciting, it doesn't have the strategy, and so it will pivot you back to do exactly what you've done. That's why all these ideas, I want to have happy relationships or open the business, likely will fail by themselves if you don't do this intentionally and with some support, because the brain is working on the systems and experiences that kept it alive. I know how to dodge when someone throws at me something in my abusive relationships. I don't know how to trust someone who respects and sees me. I know how to deal with a boss who pushes things on me because I know how to deal with my overwhelm because it motivates me some ways. I don't know what it means to be autonomous and respected and negotiate and share my experiences. It's too visible. And so we want this, but we design by subconscious kind of biology to do this. And you need to be in charge of both things intentionally, knowing that your propensity is to go into the mind, which takes you to the past experiences. Does that make sense to you guys? Does it resonate? So allowing the mind to be in control basically sets you up for a trajectory that you already know you don't want. And another big helpful component here is going to be our relationship with stress. So here is the concept of stress. Stress is a good thing because it will get you up from status quo into action. And our body knows that. So when you procrastinate, sometimes it does it intentionally to put you into stress response. Oh my gosh, it's due tomorrow. So then you will elevate your energy and actually do it. So procrastination could be, not always, but could be a very weird way, especially for people with ADHD tendencies, to actually push yourself to do things by concentrating, like pulling the stress, and then you're gonna be amazing in your performance, because there is such a thing as peak performance when you're in a stress response. The problem is, of course, when you go from that peak performance to doing it forever chronically and being beat up emotionally and otherwise, and that's a burnout and overwhelm that you're likely going to find yourself in. And if you don't know where you are, well, super simple. You just can take a look and decide, are you in a place of hyper alert or addictive behavior or needing something to be stabilized, or are you in relaxed and smiley and feeling expansive and open space of the green? There are only two systems you work in your system: parasympathetic, which is green, and sympathetic, which is stress response. Both are needed. None of them can be simultaneously. It's either or. One is the brake pedal, one is the accelerator pedal, but you can learn how to shift yourself faster from one to another, and how to help people you live and love do the same. So how we do this, typical things. We ruminate on the past. Oh my gosh, why did I do it, or did do something? And or we worry about the past. What we do need to do instead is stay in our presence. Be right now. This is how I know what needs to happen. I will share this recording to you so you can have, or you can take a snapshot of this, but there are multiple ways of helping, and they have different timeline, from instant to 10 minutes to 1 hour to 1 month to changing over years. So be mindful about where you are, but staying in the present at your demand is a very powerful and needed thing. So let's run quickly through this. I'm not going to be too pushy on that, but it's for you. Very quickly on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being awesome, 1 being not so awesome at all. Where are you in health and self-care? Let's just go quickly in the chat. Where are you? Health and self-care. Topic 2, in your mind, intellectual life. How do you feel? Are you stimulated? Are you really where you want to be? Or you are more ADHD or foggy or not very clear or forgetful? Where are you in your mind? We have some 5s and 8s. Awesome. What about your emotions? Emotions would be anxiety, stressful feelings, sadness, anger, insecurity, anything like joy, happiness, anything that you indicate is your emotional experience of self. We have 6 and 8s and 7s for emotions. Awesome. Spirituality. I live my passion. I know I'm living my purpose. I have my purpose. I have my values. I am living exactly the life that I don't want to regret. and I won't regret. Spiritually, we're 7, 8, 5, 8, 6, 9. I mean, it's not a competition, it's just where I am, because if I know I'm 5, I have this much to grow. Now I can make a plan and do it, right? Be careful about 9s and 10s. That's where people don't want to see the truth often. Maybe you are 10 and 9, and then imagine what 20 will look like. Make 20 your next 10, and then you can grow again. How about personal growth? Are you personally growing? We have 7. How much time and money do you invest in growing yourself? 6, 8, 5. Okay, so we have people who are not prioritizing self sometimes because we're busy helping others. That's a decision you can make. How about your relationships? Where are we? Relationships with the significant other, romantics, love, whatever that is for you. We're in 6 and 7s and 8 and 3 and 7 and 5. We're all over the place, and that's fine. You're watching for your own relationship will, right? How about your business career or sense of bringing your gifts to reality? 8, 5, 6, 5, 7. So it tells you something. That's the room of your untapped potential. You can grow. It requires understanding, plans, strategies, and capabilities and skills and practicing them. And you can make a decision. Do you want to stay here, come back 20 years to the same question, or do I want to change now? How about your wealth and money and sense of financial security? This is the #1 breaker of relationships, by the way, and majority of people who are never realizing potential are because they try to be secure instead of going for abundance and wealth. So we have 5s and 6 and 6 and 5s and 6. Okay. And finally, life and wellness. Where are we on that? Overall life, overall wellness. 2. Okay. 7, 5, 7. So we have people who are doing quite fine. Great. Fantastic. So here's my thing for you. You can play with that and then decide. Everything that I think is in 1 to 4 zone requires the strategies of triage, like drop everything. This is the priority. This thing is going to tank your ship, possibly. If not now, then eventually. You can break your relationship if you don't start dealing differently with your conflicts. You will not be able to get yourself financially secure if you're not able to have conversations about your career growth or don't know your brand. Those things that are in the green, though, this is where your resources are hiding and you're not tapping in them most likely. There's certain things you do here well that if you know how to translate to another area of your life, you will start doing as well. For example, if you know how to do the business plan and you know how to do risk management and you know how to identify and play with scenarios in business for, let's say, solar panel development project in Namibia, but you do not do the same thing in relationship with how I'm going to negotiate childcare with my mother-in-law, which is the same thing. Here's the objective, here's the plan, here's the skills, here's the possibilities, here are the scenarios, and I can manage risks by doing or not doing X, Y, and Z. You're not leveraging, and therefore you're not tapping in the potential that you already have. You're a powerful, powerful, awesome person, and it's right there in front of you. And everything in the yellow zone, that's kind of the sleepy blah life danger. You can elevate. You don't have to wait for the wall to hit before you actually can do this the way you want it to be. Most people I work with as a coach is basically going sort of work, life, money first, then other people I need to somehow serve, then there's me, whatever is left of me. And that left of me is usually looks like a good D- or C- person, who is jerky, yelling, squeaking, not restful, not amazing, because that's all I have left of me. If that's you, say yes, me. If you recognize yourself and prioritize in that way. Alternatively, there are some people who, like, we want to be opposite to that. We want to be best me, so I can be with people I love, and then I am going to be translating this into the mission I have, because ultimately, who you are is how you're going to see other people, and this is how you're going to translate this to other people who are not even in the sphere of your big love and connection, right? And so the question becomes, how do we do it all? And we have all of it in the same spot. So we are prioritizing self so I can be the best for others and I can serve the best to the rest of the world. Just put in the chat if there's any aha moments or, oh, I didn't know that, or I did know this, but now I'm going to think about this differently. So here is how we need to start thinking about this. Everything that we ever want to do has to be me first, because if you're broken, there's nothing you can give to other people. You can give them your A+, A-, your B-, your D-, your C-, you decide. But how do you know where you are? You know, because you just answer my questions every time. On a scale 1 to 10, where are you? And if you're red zone, you are D- to everyone around you. Do they deserve that? Or do they deserve a better you? It has nothing to do with you being selfish. It has everything with you being selfish by not giving them the best self. The second you flip it backwards, you realize that you're actually stealing from them the opportunity to deal with the amazing best self of you. And if you are giving them 1 to 4 of you, I don't know, to me, that's a failing grade, right? Is that what they deserve? Or should I work on myself so they can actually get a better version of me? I don't know. What do you think? What do they deserve? Put your estimation of the best self that they deserve. People that you love, people that you lead. Would the B- be okay? A+? Tivara, what's the best version of you? Like, I want to give them my 9s and 10s. So my question becomes, how do I be the 9 and 10 now? And what needs to happen now so I can become 9 and 10 or close to that, right? Sometimes it means, okay, pause, I'm not doing too well, I need a walk. I need a jump, I need a laugh, I need a sleep, I need a vacation. It could change, but it's my decision that I am not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the wholeness that I create, because we lead these people. They watch you, they copy, and then they will repeat. They will repeat the same patterns that you install into them, right? So here's the example of what we are. We are very, very much the same and supremely unique. We're the same in the fact that we all have the energy flows, right? It's a circadian cycle. We all need to sleep. We all have 1,000 minutes or so left. We all want to connect. There are certain needs that we need to replenish within us. How specifically and when depends on you, and you need to understand that. So you need to sleep, move, eat, and have some rest in order for your body to be okay. You need to do some household and prep things, which is boring task, but they kind of like need to be to clean up your nest. There are some active type of activities that require your mind more than anything else. And then there's the social activities, which is unpredictability of human beings, which protects your emotional self. So not all actions are done the same way. And I want you to be clear which actions are filling up your calendar. Do you have time for proactive work? What's your reactive work? Emails, reactive work. In the presentation that will change the world in Namibia, proactive work. And understand that each of them will task your energy differently based on who you are, your extrovert, introvert status, your stress level at the moment, and many other ways. So one exercise is to go through your life every day and just mark every 30 minutes on a scale 1 to 10, where's your energy? What you will find very quickly that the energy is roughly flowing like this every 90 minutes to 120 minutes. When? It's yours. I don't know. It depends on you. But will it be like this? 100%. And if we start understanding that we can match our energy to our activities that require this energy, and then have relaxing moments to the activities that are best when you're relaxed. For example, creativity, brainstorming is best when you're in the shower, in relaxation, because that's how your machine works here, called brain. You will understand how to start strategically matching those activities to morning, evenings, slump in the daytime, and activate activities smart way instead of just pushing through, right? So another exercise I would like to invite you to do, again, we do this in our programs all the time, actually doing this, but for now it's just the ideas for you. At least you can try to play with this on your own. You're very different you, and your different you requires different energy because you have strengths, you have weaknesses, you have more or less energy. So, for example, me, the person who I am best as me, requires mind and energy a certain way. I need to be learning and having fun. I'm a supremely curious human being. For me, learning and thinking big pictures is amazing. For someone who is much more like detailed oriented, this is a horrible tax on their emotions and their brain. They're freaking out. It's too big. That's why I'm an analyst and they are not. But you need to understand what is you are the best self. Then how are you showing up as the partner? Not as the life partner in the sense of budget, but as the partner, like a friend to your spouse, like a woman, man, like a husband and wife, which is different from mom and dad. Do you show up, or do you forgot that you actually married to someone and not just raising kids? How do you show up as a parent, which is different from one woman and man, husband and wife, and I'm not politically correct, I recognize that, but you get the idea. How are you different in a family? I'm awesome in relationship. I'm horrible with my family for different dynamics, but I know that managing this will require different energy from me. How I'm showing up in the social sphere as a friend, different from family or partner. How you show up at work and what is your impact for the big picture of what you want to achieve in life. And then you just write it down. Who do you want to be? You understand. We are in the present. Remember, past, present. Like, who am I? What am I? If you see what you see, you can strategize and plan ahead. Does this trigger your curiosity a little bit? So again, you can make a picture, make a photo of the slide. You can start playing with this. This is what becomes important to you to maintain all of you, so you do not forget half of your being and become who knows what. And the exercise will basically look like a blank spot where you can fill it out. And so now let's build that calendar, but do it right way up, from the roots up, realizing that if you can manage your energy and you're really in love and attention to yourself, your body that has all the potential to keep you alive for the last 2 million years or for the next 2 million years, it knows what it's doing if you don't interrupt it. Then we can attach the emotional piece on top, because emotional piece is what creates the mammal tribal sense of us. We all need love, belonging, attention, security. Only then we actually can create the impact through this energetically much more enhanced A+ self. And you will do this way better. Statistically, people spend 5.5 hours a day. If you're leaders, like you're gonna freak out now. 5.5 hours a day, statistically, people spend ruminating, worrying, and being distracted by the thoughts about their emotional and personal life. If you're thinking that your productivity is what, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, and you spend 40% doing the work and 60% worrying about people, I would say that 40% is very unproductive. I'm a high performance coach for the CEOs, right? It's like, it's 40% that is responsible for all your activities. When we create 60% and eliminate the rest of the worries, you're going to be awesome, right? It's not how much time you spend sitting at the desk, it's your productivity per second, your impact per minute, your value per minute. And if we can get all of this done in 15% or less, awesome. So let's go with that. Here is the magic. On the right, you see the build-up of the calendar. On the left side of the screen, you see sort of the logic of how I'm thinking. I'll send it to you. You can play with that, but let's just pretend that it makes sense. On the bottom, we have time from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And sleep, I argue, is the most important piece, because if you do not sleep, you're not cleaning toxics out of your brain, and you are gonna be stupider. Absolutely guaranteed by gazillions of studies, proven fact that you lose up to 40% of your ability to think clearly, and 6 days in a row of not sleeping well is equal to being legally drunk in your cognitive abilities. And if these legally drunk people are responsible for decisions about, I don't know, Namibia, or pushing the red button, or making decisions that impact people, you don't have responsibility of not sleeping. Because it's like, I'm never going to clean my garbage out. It also allows your memory to process things differently. It also allows your nervous system and neurons to suppress and eliminate unnecessary pieces and open up the capacity for bigger and better processing. So sleeping is the must. If you don't sleep, you should not be a leader of any kind. Quit. So when we sleep, though, we need to also remember that we need to prepare for sleep the body so it can sleep. And that means 3 things. No food couple hours prior to, so it doesn't spend in time processing, it's going to be resting. And no electricity and monkey brain activation that you know very well you shouldn't be doing. But this is the way to do this. Your tomorrow starts 3 hours before your sleep today. That's how you think about this. If I need to be productive tomorrow, it starts at 6 p.m. today. And that's your success for tomorrow. Depends on. So if there's no food, then you need to start thinking, when do I cook dinner, right? So you go backwards. So if I need to sleep at this time and then rest and process, then I need to have this dinner moment. And if we're in a dinner moment, well, when do we want to have lunch and breakfast? And how do I think about food? Because food is what makes me get the energy, the fuel. And if we are not moving, then we are not resting equally, like it's balanced. So I need to be moving at least every certain time to kind of pump my body so it can rest at night without pumping up again. So if I want deep sleep, I need to have energy spent during the day. So we go into move and breathe, because when you move, you start getting more oxygen through your breath. We also need to drink, right? We get into hydration because you're 60% water. And so if you don't drink water, you eliminate ability for the toxins to actually clear successfully and circulate your oxygen into your blood systems. So the very basic thing, sleep, move, breathe, hydrate, and then eat for your energy is a must-have, non-negotiable. Then we go into what makes me grow, expand, to be human. For me, it's reading. And I decide I'm going to read the first thing in the morning before I get out of the bed and right before I go to sleep, even if it's 1 page. It's a designated time for me to know that I grew. It could be journaling, it could be reading. For me, it's important to think. I just love thinking. And I love writing. So I create space next to that of reading and thinking, writing, or reflecting. But this is what makes me human, again, even if it's 10 minutes. Then I want to feel good. And what feels good is connecting to my husband and have coffee, or connect to my friend. Maybe it's connect to your mom. Maybe it's connecting to your kid. It could be different, but it needs to be planned. If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to be a priority for your mind. So I can put it into different places, and it doesn't have to be long, but it's practically planned in every single day. So I know I get this replenished as well. And then, for example, for me, it's important to feel like a woman. It could be belly dancing, it could be music, it could be sensuality, it could be me feeling alive, putting makeup, having some hair done, whatever that might look like. For me, it's important, remember that circles of you, but do I have it every day? So this is also implanted all the time, and it doesn't have to be long, but it needs to be in. Then they have 5 kids. It requires some time. So we cook together, or we do like a little bit overlapping. I don't have to spend 2 hours with them, but it needs to be planned when we have those moments of deep connections where I don't think of anything else, even if it's only 10 minutes. Deep connection and quality over time links. It's the how many bricks, not the size of the bricks, that will create the pyramid. And then you go into, if that's important to you, like family. For me, my family is further away, and it used to be a lot. Now I don't want to spend that much time on this. So for me, it wasn't an issue for the calendar. And I also don't spend much time outside because it's my decision for now. So whatever is left is your work, because we still need to have 4 hours. That's all we need, because that's what you do anyway, if you're a normal person in statistics, which we all are. But here's the trick. We get it into priority work matching to your energy, and administrative work matching to its energy. And it's different for every person. Priority work would be something that you are good at, easy. I mean, it depends what you're doing. And understanding that by creatively matching your type of work to your skills and energy will do the trick for you. It works smart, not hard. And with that, this is your homework. Play with this calendar and see how you can build it up so you can build your life the way you want, just like I put it for myself. The final piece of suggestions is different ways of playing with your productivity. Choose the one that works for you for a week. Try it. Change it if it doesn't work. Keep it if it does. Time blocking. Pomodoro techniques, which means taking 20 minutes breaks every time you do something. Slump principles, how to activate yourself fast when you go into the slump. Most important task method, where you decide what's important, the rest may happen awesome, but if it doesn't, oh well. Focus session, when you block everything, nothing is touching you. No one can walk into your room, no meetings, no notifications. That works fabulous for me. Power day. On Friday, you decide that I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this thing. Full day dedication. Many different techniques. None of them is prescription Bible or anything. You have to love your body, know yourself, love yourself, master yourself, play with yourself, and decide what works for you. This is how you create change, one decision at a time. And my final piece is, if you don't like something, decide what you want. Decide that you're going to change and go play. How you do this? Not working, need to let go, need to build. Here's the strategy of resources, how I'm going to learn, when I'm going to do this, how much money and time and energy I'm allocating to this. Who knows? Who can I ask so I don't spend 5 years learning something they can teach me in 2? And then just go do it and be the amazing person that you are. And that's how I think transformation happens. Voila, easy peasy. So what do you guys think? How does this land with you? We have a couple minutes and then we're gonna go. Was it helpful? What was the biggest aha moment for you? Takeaway, one thing you're gonna do or stop doing that will change your life. So great sessions, thank you, I appreciate that. But I'm asking for you to take responsibility for all this knowledge, because without doing, it's not gonna change your life. So what is one thing you're gonna do, commit doing differently this week, or stop doing that might help you? And I understand that this is lots of information because it's a high level, like here's what's possible. Obviously, we work on this in our coaching program, so it's not designed to give you, it has to take time and practice, right? But at least the decision that you can make today, one thing that you're going to start doing or stop doing because of the knowledge you got. And if you want more information how to implement, reach out. We do this in separate programs. But calendar is appreciated. Awesome. Doing it all the way around. Great way of playing, right? Different methods to organize my time. Awesome. More time off, do my own thing. Awesome. Think in business, on business, off business. You're a human being. You're not business. You're all of it. Block time for myself. Use 4P framework. Pause, present, plan, then pursue. Awesome. AM, PM routine. And then there's a slam in the middle. We need to plan for that too. Allocating time for different aspects of life. Decide who you are and what's important for you to be all of it. Like I would never want in relationships. It's not just about life partners and budgeting. It's about being all four, being friends, being woman and man or lovers or relationship, like romantic intimacy, being parents and having life partnership, even if it's not in the same relationship. People divorce, I divorced, I remarried, but you stay in connection to. And realizing that we can have all of it if we pay attention. It's ROI. When you see it, you're going to harvest. If you do not see it, connection and intimacy, you're not going to have it in your life. So playing with that is really important to understand that you're responsible. And if you don't know how, ask. If you don't have it, learn. If you didn't receive it, do it to yourself. Build it yourself. You can if you want to be awesome. So please fill out our questionnaire. It always helps us to know what else is useful. Reach out, and I will be sending the replay when it's ready, probably tomorrow. So play with that. Only by doing, you will achieve transformation. Thank you very much. Much appreciate your time with us, and wishing you all the best. Love yourself, know yourself, master yourself. Do not forget that you are the creator of your reality, and we as leaders matter. We inspire people, people look at us, kids will repeat the same things no matter what you say. They will be doing the same thing, creating busyness, toxic moments, or awesomeness. And we have responsibility to be happy, to have our light, and then help other people, inspire other people, show them how, so they have the permission to be amazing too, have their light, be authentic selves. And this is how we create a wonderful impact. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful the rest of the day.